I'll be going over returning monsters that could appear on the Windward Plains. If you agree or disagree, feel free to leave a comment. Starting off, Rathian and Rathalos, almost guaranteed to be in this game. Rathian has appeared in just about every single desert map in the series so far, so it's very likely that she will appear in the Windward Plains. Rathalos we were shown in the teaser trailer. Otherwise, he has only ever appeared in a desert map in Monster Hunter Frontier or online. We'll see if they both appear here or not. Genprey and Gendrome. They're usually the first pack monster you fight in the desert regions, though with the large monster herds, I'm not sure if they would be willing to have a large monster lead a pack of small monsters, though they could fly under the radar and return. Sephiroth and Sephrodrome. One of the first sand swimmers introduced into the series. They could fit into the dunes of the Windward Plains if it wasn't for the large herd of large monster Balahara that inhabit the region that would basically tear them to shreds. Only if Sephiroth were recategorized to larger monsters, with Sephrodrome being the alpha, is the only way I see them coming. And I don't think they'll do that. The Living Rock Basarios. I could see Basarios returning. He could easily just dig and camouflage himself like he normally does. Though unless they add in some kind of other structures or rocks to make it hard to find him, I do not exactly see him returning. But I would like to see how that works if they do bring him back. The Horned Tyrants, Diablos, and Monoblos. Both of them are Apex tier monsters that swim through the sand and could challenge Raidao as Apex of the Windward Plains via land instead of air and lightning. With the wide area for the dunes, the oasis, and the underground cave system, neither of them really have to even leave the dunes to survive in the Windward Plains. With Diablos being in both World and Rise, this could be a big comeback for Monoblos to return in Wilds and be a proper Apex like he was in Gen 1 and kind of Gen 4. With how big the Dunes area is in the Windward Plains, I could see both of them having potential to return in Wilds. The giant Piscine Wyvern Fish, Plesioth. He would be an interesting return to see in Wilds, but the problem with the Windward Plains is there's not much water for him to go around. All Windward has is a waist-high deep river and a tiny oasis in the middle of the dunes. So I don't think neither Plesioth or Green Plesioth will be returning. Azure Rathalos and Pink Rathian. Pink Rathian shares most maps with normal Rathian, so she's probably in if Rathian is in. And for Azure, he only ever appeared in a desert for Monster Hunter Online, but more like Rathalos, that could change in Wilds. And the Silver King and the Golden Queen, Silver Rathalos and Gold Rathian. Depending how they handle the metal routes, if it's like World, then really just a volcano. If it's like every other game, really, then it will be in the same environments as Rathian and Rathalos. Daimyo Hermitar and an Extension Plum Daimyo Hermitar. I could see Hermitar returning as there's larger dunes areas for them to sift through the sands for food. They have a cave if they want to hide, and they could chill in the savannah portion. The problem I see with them is that they could be too big for other predators to ignore, and if Diablos and Monoblos aren't in the game, then neither could be the Hermitars. The monkey himself, Rajang. This one's pretty obvious. Rajang is one of the big invaders in the series. Really, the only thing that's stopping him from being in the Windward Plains is him not being in Monster Hunter Wilds at all. The Steel Wind Dragon Kushala Deora. Kushala is usually found in a lot of different environments. Very uncommon, but possible is including deserts. The King and Queen of Flame, Teostra and Lunastra. Teostra is usually found in hot environments like volcanoes and deserts. Meanwhile, Lunastra, I really do not see why they can't bring her back for more games, as World reinvented her fight to be much different than Teostra's. The Roaring Wyvern Tigrex. Somewhat similar to Rajang, Tigrex is found in almost every environment of every game he's in, with very few exceptions, so he would probably appear in the Windward Plains. The Sand Lion Copper Blagonga. He would be a pretty interesting return, but with Doshiguma herds, I don't think Copper Blagonga could be around unless he has a herd of his own. Vespoid Queen. She has only appeared in jungle environments, but Vespoids do appear in deserts, so she could be just a fun mini-boss. The Sleep Bird Hypnocatrice. Mainly being a monster from Online and Frontier, it mainly appears in forests, though deserts are an option, and I would love to fight him. The Dog Wyvern Great Jaggy, and Jagia. Commonly found in deserts, Great Jaggy could be the same as Gendrome and Genprey, and they could live in the caves and go out on the plains and dunes to hunt. I'll throw him in as a maybe. The Wasteland Warrior Baroth. Let's look at what he needs to live in a desert. He needs a mud hole, check. He needs insects to eat, check. And plenty of territory to patrol. Also check. He could be coming back in Wilds. The Songbird Korapeko and an extension, Crimson Korapeko. First and most commonly fought in the Sandy Plains, or Gen 3, he could be a very interesting fight in Wilds, especially if it has the ability to call in herds. So, I want him in. The World Eater Devil Joe. Like Rajang, he's the major invader in the series, appearing in every locale, so the only thing keeping him out is him not being in the game. The Armadillo Bear Volvidon. Found in volcanoes, but mainly deserts, Volvidon could be a interesting monster to be in the Windward Plains, but I don't think the Doshiguma would like another fanged beast like them being in their territory. The Sandfish Leviathan Nibblesnarf. He's an interesting monster that would mainly entirely live in the dunes area of the Windward Plains. With him being big enough, I don't see the Balahar giving him much trouble, so I think he has a decent shot of coming back. The one monster I hope to see the most, Sanbarioth. To me, Sanbarioth never really fit in pretty well in the Sandy Plains, so I think he would fit in amazingly in the savannah of the Windward Plains, and give Raydao some stiff competition. The Walking Mountain Restaurambos. With him being too large for most monsters to hunt, I can see him grazing the savannah and dunes of the Windward Plains. An out there discussion, Molten Tigrex. My only logic for him, other than wanting him to return, is if there's large monster herds, then why couldn't there just be one large monster of a rare species Tigrex? Desert Celtis Queen and Celtis. I could see the Celtis Queen wandering all of the Windward Plains and going to the dunes of the plains to dig out a Desert Celtis. The Corpse Spider Sharded Nucilla. I could see her spending most of her time in the caves, and if she gets hungry, she would go out to the dunes, bury herself, and wait for prey to come along. The Giant Land Shark Tiger Stripe Zamtrios. I could see him absorbing water from the river that runs from the Scarlet Forest, and then going to swim in the dunes. The Thousand Blade Wyvern Seregios. Other than in 4 Ultimate, where he was an invader, Seregios mainly sticks to forests and deserts. And we still don't know where Stragios originally came from, so it could be the same continent as the Windward Plains. The blazing-tailed brute Glavenus, usually found in forests, volcanoes, and deserts. Glavenus could be a decent fit in the Windward Plains, so I'd say he's in. The golden mantis Atelka. We've only fought her in a desert-like environment, but due to her ecology saying she can be found in multiple environments, I hope to see different kinds of nesets that she makes from whatever she can find in those environments. The Jet Elder Dragon Valstrax and Crimson Glow Valstrax. Somewhat of an invader himself, he can travel different environments very quickly, so he could appear in the Windward Plains if he's in the game. Starting off the 5th generation, we got the Mudfish Geratodus. It only appeared in the Wildspire Waste in Monster Hunter World and the Flooded Forest in Rise. Even though the Windward Plains has water in it, I don't think it's enough for Geratodus to be able to return. Pookie Pookie, I would say, has a decent chance with the Scarlet Forest being neighboring to the Windward Plains. Anjanath I could also see appearing in the Windward Plains for the same reason. The Rise did allow him to appear in the Sandy Plains, fixing it. And Kuluyaku, who could appear in the Windward Plains, steal some eggs, and be able to run away before getting caught by any of the large amount of predators in the area. The Invading Tyrant Basilgeuse. An invader like Devil Joe and Rajang, I see him easily being able to appear on the Windward Plains and bombing the area. Our 5th gen Elder Dragon, Nergigante. Nergigante has only ever appeared in the Sandy Plains once during the demo of Monster Hunter World. Getting to our Iceborne invaders, Bonboro, Fulgur, Anjanath, and Ebony Odegron, the only monster here I see possibly making it into wilds, at least in the Windward Plains, is Ebony Odegron. The Iceborne Wyvern, Velkhana, who has so far appeared in every map of every game she's in. The Mud Dragon Almadron. Similar to Geratodus, I feel like Almadron needs more mud or water in the map to feel like it would fit in. The Spider Queen, Raknakadaki. I could see her exploring most of the Windward Plains and spending most of her time in the cave system. And the only monster from Sunbreak, Blood Orange Bishaten. He appears in the Shrine Ruins and Sandy Plains, which is good enough to be in the Scarlet Forest and the Windward Plains. That is all the monsters I see having a possibility of coming back and living in the Windward Plains. Except for one. And that is the Wyvern of Malice, Magnamalo. With Magnamalo beating large monsters and tying with Elder Dragons, along with having a powered up variant that kills Elder Dragons, I could see Magnamalo very much returning as a new invader. And that is my full list of potential returning monsters. If you see any that should go, or have any that should move in, feel free to leave a comment.